an offshoot of your dark companion. The OG consists of two OGs. I am one. I would be Mike Reiner.
And I would be Greg Williams.
The other OG. An emergency convention of the OG has been called today. And the reason for this emergency is to discuss the status of the Texas Baseball Rangers, which is not good and getting worse all the time. And this is a really, really weird time for Ranger baseball. I don't know if I've seen a time quite like this, because normally if we're going to come on here and complain about the Rangers, we're going to be bitching about pitching, and we're going to be bitching hard about lousy pitching and what can be done about this lousy pitching to get it decent, which is usually nothing. But today, pitching is not the cause. Pitching is fine. Starting pitching might be the best it's ever been. I'd have to look through the years at that, and I plan to do that in the days coming, because I really don't know, and I can't think of definitively when the Rangers have had starting pitching this good. Now, the bullpen, that's got its ups and downs, but usually the starters are so good that that's not the red alert situation that it normally is. There's a far, far bigger red alert situation with this thing, and you know what it is. It's that all of a sudden nobody on this team can hit. And that is just killing this thing in a way that I didn't think it would. I didn't think it would persist. I mean, here we are a third of the way through the season, and the hitting still has not shown any real sign of coming around. There was a little uptick when the Rangers changed hitting coaches and got Brett Boone in here, but boy, since then, somewhere, Donnie Ecker, the deposed hitting coach, must be smiling, saying, "See, it wasn't me."
You know, I'm gonna go a step farther, Ryan. I don't think I certainly never seen the starting pitching this good this early in the year. Never, not one time. But I'm gonna go a step farther and say I've never seen the hitting this bad.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
And I have no idea. And you summed it all up. And we're having this emergency diamond talk here, and I have no answers. Do you? I wouldn't even know where to begin.
No, I wouldn't know where to begin either. And I guess at some point, you've got to go back to the process of whose idea it was to put this thing together, and that lands at the feet of Chris Young. But most of the moves Chris Young has made since he has been here have been golden. He got Jacob deGrom in here. For a long time, that looked like a horrible move because Jacob deGrom couldn't stay healthy. Now he's able to get out there every 5 days, and every 5 days he is awesome. And every 5 days when I see him pitch, I say to myself, we're watching the best pitcher in baseball here. The numbers,
one of them.
The numbers may not always bear that out, but as far as being able to locate the ball right where he wants it with pinpoint control, with movement, with velocity, with everything you would want in a good pitch, Jacob deGrom does that better than I think anybody that I've seen in the last 20 years, Ranger or no.
Yeah, and like you said, he came here. You know, I don't know that Chris Young made it cool to play for the Rangers, but he certainly made it not uncool, you know, to where everybody would give it a shot to come in here. But, Ron, you know how this ends. You know how this play ends, and it hasn't started yet. But then again, we're still in the first 2 months. It's not early yet. It's not late, but it's darn sure not early. No. And we know what comes next, the whispers, and then the rumors, and then comes the finger pointing. And then you've got a fully blown divided team. I don't think they're there yet, but they're getting close because the pitching is just too extraordinary right now. that the pitchers are going to start going, what the hell else can we do? We gave up 2 runs and lost. We lost 2
Yeah.
or 3 to the Blue Jays, and we gave up 4 runs. We can't do much better than that, guys. And then the finger pointing starts, and then it gets tough. So, everybody wants to jump ahead and say, well, they need to make a trade. Well, who? And what are you going to give up to get something? So I don't know. But if you examine the team, Rhines, and you examine these hitters, they're just not performing.
No, they're not performing, and
every time I
nobody's
think
going
about
to
it,
be. Nobody's going to be. You talk about making a trade. Nobody's going to want to take any of those guys off their hands.
No, not at all. Now, would somebody be interested in trading with the Rangers? Yeah, they're going to start with some of those starting pitching, to which that ends the conversation. So what are you going to do? I keep going back to that analogy you had, Rhines, of your dad and the big barrel in the garage with a collection of nuts and bolts, but couldn't make anything. Is that what we're looking at with this offense? Some good hitters.
Boy, it looks that way.
But it's just not working together.
And a lot of it's been that they haven't been able to keep all their guys out there on the field. Guys are getting hurt left and right and everything, but nobody wants to hear about that, because every other team out there is going to look at you and say, cool story, bro. So are we. Look at all the guys on our DL right now. You think we feel sorry for you? Like effing hell,
Right.
Nobody's going to feel sorry for you on account of that. It comes down to the fact that these guys simply have not performed.
Right.
Now, yes, they haven't been able to stay out there. Corey Seager has not been able to stay out there. And when Corey Seager has been able to get out there, he's been okay. Corey Seager is always going to be at the very worst okay. But he just spent some time on the DL and came back last night. And then you had Sam Haggerty for a while. For a few days, he came up here and he looked like he might provide a legitimate spark plug. I didn't know anything about the guy, He was just a name in the minor leagues to me. I didn't know that they ever considered him a prospect or somebody who could even play in the major leagues. To me, he was just a guy whose name was filling a minor league roster out. I didn't think he'd ever see the light of day in the majors, but he came up here and he started to make things happen, but now they figured him out. That's the thing about this. That's the thing about hitters. Sooner or later, everybody's going to have video on you out there, and everybody's going to take a look at it, and they're going to see a hole in your swing, and they're going to go, okay, all right, look at that. That's how we get the guy out. They're going to figure you out. So next move's yours. What do you got?
I don't know. Now I do know this, and if there's anything that we can hopefully equate it to, Rhines, that you and I can, we can go back to 1998. You can retool a team on the fly. We remember when Doug Melvin brought in Todd Zeal from, what was that, the Marlins? Wasn't that a Marlins trade? And then the trade with the Cardinals, he brought in Royce Clayton and Todd Stottlemyre. And that changed the complexion of the team and turned things around, and they were sliding at the time. So you can retool, but it had been tried before that and failed. It's very tricky to do that on the fly during the season.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, to do that, you got to give something up.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to be looking. The Rangers are going to be dealing from a standpoint of desperation. Everybody in the league is going to know that. And it's hard to imagine a scenario where what they would get back is going to be greater than what they would have to give up to get it.
Yeah.
And that it's just a really, really tough position to be in right now. The guys they brought in have not really performed. One, Jake's Burgers, was so bad that they actually had to send him down to the minor leagues for a few days to get straightened out. Now, he's been a little bit better since he came up, but still, he was so bad and at such a low point that it's going to take him a long, long time to where his numbers start to look decent. Jock Peterson is now gone for I don't know how long. He's got a broken finger or something like that, and
Those are tough to come
and
back from during the season. Those
they
hand
are
injuries.
they are, and he's got one now. So when will he be back? I don't know. And he was so bad when I mean, hell, what was he hitting 134 or something like that when he hurt himself?
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, just a few weeks ago, at a time when just about everybody had at least enough at bats to pull yourself out of this, he was hitting 078 or something like that. His batting average started with a 0. I don't know if I've ever seen that
Not as
from
a
an
starter.
everyday player at this point in the season before. Ever.
It's things we've never seen before, and that leads to some unfortunate conversations you have to have, Ryan's, and maybe they have to have one now about two specific players, Garcia and Simeon.
No.
Because there
Okay.
comes
All right.
there comes a point where you have to say, are they hurting us more than they're helping us right now?
Yep, there does come to that point. And let me address those two issues. First of all, if they wouldn't have brought Garcia back this year, I would have been fine with that. He hits home runs and he's okay in right field, although he plays out there with his head up his ass a lot of the time. But there are too many at bats that I see Adolis taking where he goes up there, looks at a couple of pitches, and seems to think, man, I can't hit this shit. And all he seems interested in is getting the at bat over with. He doesn't have competitive at bats. And that just drives me nuts about him. Now, Simeon, well, you could kind of see this coming because he receded quite a bit last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure that the time to part ways with Marcus, and I hate saying this because I love Marcus.
So do I.
To me, Marcus is everything a baseball player should be. He is everything you would want a teammate to be. His give a shit level is off the charts, and I've loved having him here for the part of his career that we did. But I think that it's pretty clear that he's just about had it.
It's tough.
And I hate saying that.
Yeah,
like I say, I love the guy.
Yeah, but he's the kind of guy, and I hate to say this, and I want to choose my words very, very carefully. He's the kind of guys that can really hurt a team. A guy that cares so much and is pressing so hard, and pride is so high that he just presses and it hurts the team. He does it to a detriment.
So what you're saying,
and he's diminished in skills, and he just keeps working harder and putting in more batting practice and fielding practice because he thinks he can capture that magic of youth, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And it leaves in a hurry. And players never know when it leaves, and they try to recapture it. And is he there? I'm not ready to say he is, but you got to consider that. And is he hurting the team more than he's helping it right now?
Yeah, and I think you hit on something really good there. A lot of this for him is mental, because he wants to be what he once was so bad, and he wants to contribute so bad, and he wants, and this makes it sound like he's an egomaniac, and I don't know the guy well enough to know if he is or not. I really don't think he is, and I don't want to think he is, but his place probably in his status in the room and on the team right now is not what it once was, and I'm sure he would like it to be that way again because he was a leader. He was a guy everybody looked at and says, okay, that's the way I got to do it. That's the way I got to go out there and play this game every day. And I'm sure this is just driving him crazy, and I hate that for him, but it is what it is.
And he's making it hard for the team. If he was a diminished veteran just trying to collect a check, just loafing down the line. You cut him, you trade him, you DFA him, but he's not that way. He wants to get better. He wants to be play. He wants to play. He wants to be a part of the team, and it may not be there anymore.
Yeah,
That's
and
difficult.
it's tough to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to watch because he was such a big part of what happened in these last couple of years here. He was such a big part of what happened in 2023, the greatest night of my sports life, when the Rangers won the World Series, which will never be usurped. He was such a big part of that it's really, really, it causes me mental anguish to watch this happen to a guy like that.
You know what team Babe Ruth finished with, Rhines? The Boston Braves.
That's right, the Boston Braves.
Not the New York Yankees.
No.
Great players diminish.
Yep, it happens to all of them, and it's
got to let them go. It's tough to do. And is he there? I don't know. I mean, baseball is a strange game. He could turn things around tonight and go on a tear. Could. Because because the stats say he's that type of player. He's not a 170 hitter. And you are what you are. But you can't always get back to who you are. Sometimes Father Time steals that from you.
Sometimes you reach the point where what you once were just is not there anymore. You just can't find it. Yeah. You want it to be, but you just can't find it anymore.
No. And there comes a point, unfortunately, where, a guy like Chris Young has to look him in the eye and go, this is harder for me than it's going to be for you. And he really means it.
Yeah, and I'll bet that would be harder for Chris Young than it would be for Marcus. But the sad reality is, it may be that time.
Well, I'm a baseball know-it-all, Rons, but I don't know this situation. I have no clue.
No, I don't either. Because what I want and what probably needs to happen are inside my head, and they're doing this, So I don't know. I'm probably not the one to offer any kind of solution, because to tell you the truth, I haven't thought that much about that possible alternative, because I don't want to think about that possible alternative. But the reality is, we may have to.
You remember what Jimmy told us, Rons? You're either getting better or you're getting worse.
Yep.
You never stay the same.
And
right now, the Rangers are getting worse.
Yep, they seem to be. You think they're out of it?
No, I don't. And that's the stupid Ranger fan in me just not giving it up. But I'm not giving it up before July 4th. I still think they've got good players. They've got a great place to play. They've got everything it takes to win, and they've proven it because they've won a World Series. So I'm not giving up on them just yet.
Yeah, neither am I, because I'm a fool. Partly because I'm a fool. Anyway.
It's crazy. I don't know where the old me was when I could come on here and rip the hell out of them. But I don't want to rip the hell out of them, because I want them to be good.
Yeah, I want them to be good too, and they just aren't good, and I'm starting to get it through my fool head that it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen this year.
Because everybody has to understand, just know this. If baseball season kind of goes away and the Rangers aren't any good, that just means we're closer to the Cowboys. Come on. And who's ready to tackle that mess right now, Rhines?
I'm not ready to tackle it right now, but I will be when it rolls around, because I think it is going to be a mess, and I can't wait.
Oh, my God.
I can't wait for the chaos to begin.
Oh, my God. So we're not going to solve any problems today, huh?
No, I got no answers for you, although I did see where some baseball know-it-all out there a couple days ago threw out the idea of trading Tyler Mahle for something No, you don't do that.
No, because you're not going to get value. Somebody's trying to steal him. That's what they're
Yeah.
trying to do.
And what's been the way of Rangers baseball since time immemorial? Pitching.
Yeah.
Bad pitching. Lousy pitching. Now you got great pitching. And I didn't think much about Tyler Mahle when they made that trade, but that trade is genius because that guy is good.
He's good, but he's still considered a middle of the rotation guy, which makes him one of the most rare commodities in baseball. A rare middle of the rotation guy you can count on.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of that.
He's a middle of the rotation. He's a middle of the rotation. He's a middle of the rotation guy who could probably go somewhere else and be a front of the rotation guy.
But that's not what he is.
No, that's not what he is. They may be overshooting him a little bit. He's probably slotted about right here.
Yeah.
But all I know is every time he's gone out there for the Rangers, he's given them a competitive outing at the very worst. And sometimes he's been just brilliant. And a lot of the time he's had nothing to show for it.
Because I can't remember a Ranger pitcher more offensive poor than him. He has gotten zero help.
Yeah.
I mean, hasn't he lost 3 games 2-1 or something?
Something like that. I know every time he goes out there, he gets very little run support, but he doesn't give up much either. But still, if you get no run support, even if you don't give up much, you gave up something. And you give up something, you're probably going to lose with this thing. It's tough, man. It's a mess. And I never thought I'd live to see the day where this team would have pitching like this and yet no hitting. The hitters just can't hit. The hitters just can't string a decent, productive inning together. Yet here we are.
In a shutdown inning, you can forget that. The shutdown innings, where the Rangers try to answer. When they give up a couple runs and they need an offense to get them back in it, they haven't had one of those innings in a long time.
Nope, they haven't. And that's probably not going to change. So I don't know where all this is going. It's probably a situation we're just going to have to ride out because I don't see a lot of things they could possibly do without sacrificing some of their really top pitchers. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to give up Jack Leiter. That's another guy that's been really good.
Yep. And you're going to have thieves that are going to come in here.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be swirling around.
I mean, as soon as the Rangers run up the white flag that players are available, you're going to have the thieves come in here and they're going to try to steal.
Okay. Well, don't give up Jack Leiter.
No.
You got years of control with that guy, and I wasn't real high on that draft pick. He seemed like a guy who might be a little bit full of himself and might want to go, can I tell you who my dad was and everything? But I really don't think that's the case with him. He goes out there and gives them, at the very worst, a competitive outing every time. And at the best, brilliance.
And he looks like that. He just looks like a competitor. He looks like he wants the ball when he's on the mound. I mean, he looks like a ball player. I like that. I'll tell you another guy I wouldn't give up on. I wouldn't give up on Rocker because I like this new idea that's being floated about him being maybe a future closer.
Yeah,
that might be his role.
Man, I wouldn't give up on him either. I think that guy is really, really good, or he's going to be really, really good. He hadn't been really, really good yet because he hadn't been able to get out there all the time, but I think that guy's definitely got a place here.
So what you and I are saying basically is don't come after our pitching.
Yeah.
And if nobody comes after our pitching and we don't deal any of that, then we ain't making any deals because we ain't got any other trinkets to deal.
No, you really don't. Not that I see, unless you want to deal Corey Seager, and I don't want that. That's a guy who turns in a tough at bat every single time, no matter what.
It's so tough to make a trade in the season because everybody is trying to do the same thing, and it's so hard to make a trade and not hurt yourself.
Yeah,
you may the Rangers may trade for some offense and get a big bat, but what if you give up, a integral part of your pitching? Then you're back to square
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, you've robbed Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
You're back. Yeah, you haven't helped yourself. You've fixed something that needed fixing, but you haven't helped yourself. You haven't made your club better. This may be one of those years where we all just have to
bite down,
swallow hard, and go, this thing is what it is. And it's not going to get any better, so let's ride it out and tee it up again next year and see what happens.
And then look out toward Frisco and say, Brian Schottenheimer, you better have your S together. So we're coming for
you.
I
like him. I like Shotty.
Oh, you're shoddy with him, huh? Now,
yeah, I'm shoddy. I like him.
I didn't know y'all were so tight. You and Shoddy.
Well, we're not. We've never met, but that's what everybody calls him. He seems to like it that way, so I'm just getting on board. But
so you're going with Shoddy?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I probably shouldn't, because I usually don't do that unless I know these guys. And I don't know him.
Because I noticed the other day it was Mr. Mayor. A lot of Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't that what you call those guys even when they're out of office?
I thought you absolute proper respect on your part. I just wasn't used to it.
Yeah. Besides, he used to be a neighbor of mine, so, there's that.
So he was just neighbor Mike, huh?
Yeah. He was just Mike. He was just Mike and I was Mike,
Perfect.
All right, we got anything else here, Greggo?
Have
we taken care of this for the OGs out there?
I'm tapped out. I just hope we have another edition of the an emergency press conference.
Well, if things don't get any better, we just may. Or if something happens, we just may. What? We got Friday, Texas Ranger night. What is that? Oh, that's not this Friday, but next Friday. What are we doing? Are we doing something out there? Oh, Rough Riders, Texas Rangers night. So we got that coming up. That's next Friday. Tonight, it's Eric Nadell's birthday party at the Longhorn Ballroom, and we're going to be out there. Going to be out there working the red carpet, talking to luminaries as they show up.
Now, you didn't go see the Sex Pistols, did you?
No, I didn't. I did not. I feared the Sex Pistols back then.
Well, there was no thought of going in '78 when they played there?
None whatsoever.
Really?
I was so off put by the Sex Pistols and by that whole movement that was starting to come in, that whole new wave thing, I guess it was. Punk, that whole punk thing. I was so off put by that I wouldn't get near it. Besides, I was playing country music back then, so I was a long way from my reality at that time. Now, I wish I would have. Now I would have given anything to have gone.
It'll certainly be a different atmosphere tonight. Eric Nadell versus the Sex Pistols. That's a pretty good dichotomy there.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but I'll bet Eric's closer to the Sex Pistols than he might want any of us to believe.
I bet he is too. As much music as he loves, and plus they're kind of a New York thing too.
Yeah. All right, you got anything else for us today?
That's it, Rons.
All right. I will catch you down the road then here, Greggo. And to all of you.
We got an OG coming up again.
On the 12th.
I believe in June 15th or somewhere around there.
June 12th.
June 12th. There we go.
Yeah. That'll be the next episode for all to see of the OG. Is it at Birdie's again? That'll be at Birdie's East Side up there on Mockingbird. So come check out the OG on June 12th. And thank you for watching the OG. Thank you for watching Your Dog Companion. Thank you for watching all of the stuff that you watch here at a little Stolen Water Media as we try to make our way through this morass without any big stars or anything like that. There's no big names here. We're just in here doing the best we can, and you guys are showing up for us. You're supporting us, and we do appreciate that. So keep doing it. Till next time. Bye.